The purpose of this presentation is to provide an overview of remediation at colleges, an explanation of the need for reform of these courses and programs, and a description of some of the reforms that are currently taking place. What is remediation? According to Grubb and Associates, it is a class or activity intended to meet the skills of students who initially do not have the skills, experience, or orientation necessary to perform at a level that the institution or instructors recognize as regular for those students. Community college will often place students with academic deficiencies in remedial math, English, and reading. Sometimes students will be enrolled in more than one of these at the same time. Students are placed in these classes based on the results from various standardized tests. Some examples of the tests used are AccuPlacer, the Compass test, and ASSET. States and individual colleges determine the scores for remediation, and because of that there's much variation among institutions of what constitutes a remedial student and what does not. There's often what's called a hard cutoff, which is a score that says if you make below this score you're going to be placed into a remedial course. Because of this variation, it is very difficult to make comparisons between colleges. Often the studies done will be done with one college or one system in mind only. %60 of all community college students enroll in at least one remedial class in English, reading, or math. Only 64% of the students in remediation have a high school diploma. Only 31% of students in remedial math will ever move beyond it. Remediation lengthens the time necessary to complete a degree. Students spend semesters trying to get their remediation taken care of, and thus it takes them longer to complete their degree. Bettinger and Long found that age, race, and high school preparation are all significant predictors of completing remediation. There are some direct and hidden costs for remediation. The direct cost that we hear about the most often is the cost of duplication. That is, that the states have already paid for students to learn material and through public schools, and thus they often will say we shouldn't have to pay again for students who are taking classes in college. It's estimated that $1 to $2 billion are spent annually at 2- and 4-year institutions. It is less costly when students have remediation at 2-year institutions, and some of the reasons could be because of larger class size, and these classes are often taught by full-time and part-time faculty. Some of the hidden costs that may be surprising is that there's a dilution of rigor for regular college level classes. It's very common for college level classes to expect less of their students because many other students are in the developmental or remedial classes. There's also the earnings lost while students take remedial classes that these students would have earned if they were in college level classes and completing their degree more quickly. Looking at the need for reformation, I think it's important to begin with a false assumption, and that is that students in remedial courses are coming right out of high school. It's very easy to blame the public schools for not preparing students for college. But many of the students who are taking developmental courses are not right out of high school. These are often older students, older adults with rusty skills. They may also be immigrants or English language learners who have a deficiency because of their inability to speak English well. Community colleges are developing strategies to move students more quickly through these classes. They found that less than 25% of students in remediation will finish a degree within 8 years. So, because there are poor graduation rates for students who are placed in developmental and remedial classes, it's important for these classes to for there to be improvement in the developmental studies area. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has pledged $110 million in grants to colleges and school districts who develop models for remedial education and institutions to replicate effective practices. They're looking at the practical side